Hi there, good afternoon. Today we're going to do a walk around inside and outside of this 1967 Flxible Camper. It was built, like I say, in 1967 in Evergreen, Alabama, one of the production plants that Flxible had over the years. We've done a lot of modifications to this thing, so we're going to start by walking around the outside. We'll start the walk around of this Flxible Camper right here. There's been, again, a lot of modifications done to it, considering it hadn't been touched probably since 1967. But we'll start here. All new glass all the way around, on the side windows, front windows, all new rubber. Windshield wipers are vacuum actuated. Typically I would convert them to electric. We started with a donor van, a 1-ton Chevy van, which is where we took the engine and tranny. But I didn't take the windshield wiper motor out of it because it was in the way of some other stuff. So these vacuum wipers have already been totally rebuilt. This grill comes off with 4 little push screws. It's got a brand new aluminum radiator. Behind that radiator, LS engines have a separate cooler for the oil and a separate cooler for the transmission. So behind this radiator is 2 smaller radiators, one for the transmission and one for the engine oil. It's got everything that came off of the 1-ton Chevy van, including the factory cruise control. And you can see back here, this little box is the factory cruise control box. Power steering fluids right here. We'll also talk about the modifications to the chassis, since we're not going to crawl up under it. So the chassis, the body we took totally off of the frame. It's a body on frame construction. The body was lifted totally off the frame. The frame's been sandblasted. Terry and I put all new brake lines. It's got drum brakes all the way around. It's got a brake system called Hydrovac. So there's a master cylinder over here that pumps fluid to a Hydrovac system over here. The Hydrovac system was sent down to Florida to a company that rebuilds it. The master cylinder on this side is totally rebuilt. Everything underneath has been redone. Obviously, when we changed out the engine and the transmission, we had to build all new drive shafts. It's got a 2-piece drive shaft. We had to go through all the calculations to figure out how to mount that drive shaft and make sure we don't get any vibrations. But everything underneath has been rebuilt. So next we'll walk around to the passenger side. Okay, the first thing you'll notice is that these are not the factory wheels. We have all the factory wheels for this unit, which is a 3-piece steel wheel that have been totally redone, painted to match this green and red combination paint scheme here. These are brand new radial tires and wheels off of a heavy-duty Chevy. There's adapters to put them on. So we got radials all the way around. It will also come with the original painted steel wheels with brand new bi-ply tires. Brand new mirrors. It came with kind of funky chromed up mirrors that didn't work very well. I've learned to love this kind of mini convex mirror. It shows everything down the side. It's very easy to look out of. You'll also see that it's not painted. This originally was white and all of this was red. We've sandblasted the entire vehicle, and you can see we've scored it basically with what looks like a Brillo pad. The whole vehicle has just recently been ceramic coated. All the paint and all the aluminum. You'll see here also it originally was a camper. This vehicle, a P20 Chevy chassis, could have been made into anything. Could be a milk truck, bread truck, whatever. This actually was an original camper. And this is the original awning. When we get done going around the vehicle, we'll come back to that and we'll show you how it works. This is the fill for the fresh water. So everything is inside. You don't have to worry about anything freezing. When I originally got it, the water tank was outside, which obviously meant you couldn't use it in the wintertime because it was all going to freeze up. So there's a 40-gallon tank inside here that obviously stays in the heat. You don't have to worry about it freezing. It's got an onboard generator. It's got a latch right here to keep it open. This is where you fill the gas. So it's got a 31-gallon gas tank. The tank's been boiled and sealed on the inside. It's been totally redone. The generator here has got a brass plug that goes into that we tapped into the bottom of the gas tank. This generator is feeding itself off of that 31-gallon tank. There's a little petcock there. You can shut it off if you just want to run on the fuel itself. This is on a sliding mechanism. So if you just want to fill it and run it off of, I think it's about a 2-gallon tank on top. You can see here it's pulling in fuel from the actual gas tank. All of the controls are on the back side, so if there's something you want to look at or something you want to do, you can pull it out and take a look at it. We changed the window configuration on this side. This was 2 great big long windows, which didn't make any sense to me. So you can see we've covered them and we've put in a new camper window. And this is an escape window. You can push it open and jump out of this window if you had to. Likewise, this was a closet. And when we get inside, you'll see that it's the lavatory. So the toilet is in there, and obviously you got your own window to open up. So obviously all of these lights are not original. We converted everything to LED. This door had a fixed window in it. There is a dinette in this side, and we'll go look at that dinette when we get inside. But because the dinette is here, I thought it would be nice and handy to basically have a screen window that you can open up while you're sitting here eating. So this is a brand new camper window. There's a place up in Canada that will make you any kind of window you want, square corners, round corners, with a screen. Window can go up, down, sideways, whatever you want. So brand new window. This is an original window. There's 2 original windows. There's one here and there's one on the other side. And these are the typical kind of the awning. The Volkswagen people would call them a jalousie window. They're an awning type window. They crank out. They got screens on the inside. It's very handy when it's raining because you can open them up, keep the rain out, and also keep the bugs out. Most of the camper gear is on this side. This is the hot water heater, and it runs off of propane. It's a 6-gallon heater. This is city water, so it's got all the various check valves that any other RV would have. When you're pumping water on the inside, you're not pumping water out of this port, and when this is hooked up, you're not filling up your freshwater tank. So if you're at a city park and you want to hook up to water, you can hook up right here. There is a pressure reducer that drops down here that comes with the RV. I can show it to you inside. So if you're worried about too much pressure, you can hook it up first. This is a 30 amp outlet, 110. I showed you over there, it's got an onboard generator. There's a switch inside which you can convert from either accepting this power or accepting power from the generator. It has a 30,000 BTU furnace that keeps it warm. And again, this is the inlet and the outlet for the furnace. It's got a refrigerator that can either be 110 or propane. And typical refrigerator, air comes in here, refrigerators get hot on the top, and then it vents out on the outside. It has a brand new propane tank. It holds 12.2 gallons. It's really pretty big for a unit this size. And again, it runs the hot water heater, it runs the stove that we'll see on the inside, it runs the furnace, and it will also run the refrigerator if you want to run it on propane. Originally it came with these mini awnings, and it had pull-down blinds. I didn't really understand how the blinds worked. I would think the wind would just blow them everywhere. So we just put them up there, and you'll see that the material here matches the awning and matches the chairs on the other side. Right now they don't operate, they're just there for looks. If you wanted to put an actual new rod up there, you could make them workable. They're long enough to come down. I just never did it. Up on top, you'll see 3 things up here. The first thing you're going to see off to the left is what looks like a chrome knob. That's actually the vent for the gray water tank. The shower is right here, so the gray water tank is right down here. You have to vent the tank to make sure you don't get smells that back up into the motorhome. So it's actually vented through that chrome piece right there. It has 2 radios. This black antenna here is the radio for the radio in the camper. And the chrome antenna up here on the outside is the antenna for the vehicle itself that's built into the dash. The other black thing that you're seeing up there, there is a vent built over the stove inside, and that's the vent for it. It's a 12-volt vent that powers everything. So the vehicle has 2 batteries, basically an engine start battery and then a camper battery. They're both contained in here. What this switch does is it connects the two batteries together so that if you're plugged in at a campground, you're charging both of them. If you're going down the street, the engine is going to be charging both of them. The only time you would turn it off is if you're dry camping, you're not hooked to electricity anywhere, and you don't want to kill the car battery. You disconnect the two batteries. You can see both the batteries are right here. One of the things I always like to do is keep track of what the various capacities are. As you can see from here, the fuel tank is 31 gallons. The gray tank, which collects water from the shower and the sink, is 26 gallons, and again, it's located right behind this setup. Fresh water, I think I've already said, holds 40 gallons, and the propane tank holds 12.2. The other interesting thing I like to do is keep track of what things weigh. So when we finally finished this thing and we took it in and it had about a half, it probably was full of fuel and it probably had half water in it. It weighs 7,560 pounds. The other thing that this is handy for is storing any tools that you don't want to put inside the camper. It's got a hydraulic jack, a bottle jack for changing tires, anything else that you wanted for changing tires, any kind of tools you could store in here. There's enough room in here, even including the batteries. So this is a typical sliding door. Most of the time when I'm driving it, if it's summertime, I'm driving it with this door open. The wind doesn't blow you. It is a lot of fun. It's got armrests on both sides and it's got seat belts. So put the armrest down, put the seat belt on, leave the door open. It's a lot of fun. But it is a sliding door. Again, we've redid all the rubber on the windows, redone the windows. Everything on this side, again, is brand new. It works great. Carefree of Colorado is the #1 builder of any kind of awning for an RV. And they built this one way back when. When I first got the vehicle, I couldn't figure out exactly how it worked, so I called Carefree. One of the customer service people was young enough, he said, "I don't know for sure what you have, but I'll go find it." So they've got a file cabinet of the instructions as to how to install and how to put up all the various awnings. He took the time, it took 20 minutes, he found it, he copied it, and he sent it to me. So I have all the instructions as to how this thing works. So here's how it works. These are locks right here that lock these together. You got to take those off. These are thumb wheels that lock these, because these are sliding in and out. The small piece slides in and out of the big piece, so you loosen those. And the way it works is you can spring load. You can see kind of the wheel up there that you can tighten or untighten how much load is on it. I've got it set up where it's spring loaded on this side so I can do it one person. If I had spring loaded both of them, I would need two people, one to pull that one down and one to pull this one down. So the way you do it is basically you pick it up, you take the outside one, you pick it up, then you pull it forward. And you can see what's going on. That side's not sprung as tight as this one. Comes all the way down. You lift this out. You lock it in place. So now we're keeping it from rolling back into the motorhome. And now to raise it, and again, you can raise it straight out or any place you want to. So again, I could raise it up taller. I could let it go roll back in a little bit if I wanted to. So the other interesting thing is my wife said, we got to find some lawn chairs that match all this. So luckily we went on eBay. These are Zip D chairs. They were kind of the original manufacturers of outdoor furniture. And as you can see, the material on the chairs matches the awning and also matches the two little roll downs on the other side. So, and the colors kind of match the stripes in the motorhome. It's very handy, works really well. Okay, so now we're going to head inside. As you can see, we got a double lock out here, and we also got a latch on this door so you can keep it, latch it open. And it also has a screen door if you just want to have the screen door. Now we'll head inside. We've done a lot of work throughout the entire motorhome. Up front, there's a lot of mechanical stuff going on. As you can see, this is not a steering wheel out of a 1967 Flxible. This is out of a 1-ton Chevy van. So is the dash. And everything basically that's hooked to the steering column works. It's a tilt wheel. The automatic, it's a 4-speed, it's a 4L80 electronically shifted automatic transmission. We've got a brake controller here for towing a trailer. Over on this side, this is where the heater is. There's basically a radiator in here. That radiator's been rebuilt, and all the heater controls are right here. It also has a typical emergency brake lever like you would see in any delivery truck, and it really works very well. And you can kind of tighten it on the run if you want to. You can turn this handle and make it tighter. It's also got the original pull down here for keeping the sun out. You can turn it, you can spin it, you can do all kinds of things with it. It's very handy. We got a mirror here that you can look in back if you hear a noise, you want to see what's going on. It's got a radio up front, 2 speakers. And then these are open cabinets. I typically put, you can see I got a pillow in here. I typically put blankets and kind of soft stuff that I don't want falling on me going down the road. So that's, and again, it's a very large storage compartment. This is the engine, and again, it's a 6-liter. It's an LS motor out of a newer Chevy van. You can see it's all fuel injected, electronic. You might be able to see the back side of one of the smaller radiators up front. That one over there is for the transmission cooler. You can check the transmission fluid from here, engine fluid, basically anything that you need to check, you can check from here. And the whole camper, I don't know if you can zero in on this, Terry, the whole camper has this insulation in it. It's 1 inch thick, it's got the silver reflective on one side, and it's a sticky foam. So it's in this engine compartment, it's in the front of this thing, it's in the ceiling, it's in the walls, it's in everywhere. Anywhere where there was a vacant space, we've put that insulation or that plus more. So the vehicle is very insulated. Okay. This whole unit was stripped down. Again, it's all aluminum, the top, sidewalls, everything. We stripped everything to the original aluminum walls on the outside, and we put Dynamat everywhere, in the ceiling, in on the sidewalls, before we put down the insulation. So it's very well insulated. This is all insulated with inch insulation. So is this. Everything's got insulation, so you're not hearing a lot of noise come in. All the sidewalls here, these are all insulated the same way. Everything behind the wood is insulated. All the wood in here is 3/4 inch maple plywood, finished on both sides. And when we start walking back into the rest of the motorhome, you'll see all the work we've done. The other thing it has, which is interesting, is this piece that I'm standing on actually comes up, and you can get access to the transmission if you need to. And it's just sitting there, and it never moves, and you can't even tell it. We got it really tight between the actual floor and this panel, but this panel totally comes up if you want access to the transmission. So I think next we'll head back to the rest of the camper and we'll show you what's going on. So here we are in the very back of the vehicle, and again, this is the dinette area. This is 4-inch foam. This also converts into the bed. This table drops down on these ledges that are right here. This bed is 6 feet 5 inches and 4 feet wide. And then you can see all of the, I mentioned the maple paneling. This is 3/4 inch maple, finished on both sides, insulation behind. Here's one of the original windows that I talked about. So the window cranks open, but as you can see, we still have a screen, and both of these original windows are the same way. We had to get new handles for them, just because the handles weren't long enough to go over the framework for the screens. But we've got storage underneath here. One side has got the hot water heater is over there, and there's storage on this side also. This is where you would pull this panel up and get access to when you wanted to drain it in the wintertime. The water pump is under here. The water again is on this side, but most of the applications for the water are on that side. The sink is over there, and the shower is over there. So underneath over here, you can't see it, but there's a black walkway where the water's going from this side to that side to feed everything over there. So over here, what we have is, this is a sink, obviously, and it's got a pop-up for a drain. And so one of the things that I like to put in a motorhome is what's known as an accumulator tank or a pressure tank, so that in the middle of the night, if you get up and you just want to wash your hands and you don't want to turn on your water pump, which wakes up your neighbors, this thing hasn't been run for several months and it still has water pressure. It'll probably pump out a gallon or so before the water pump would start kicking on again. We ended up finding the right clip for this window. This side, this is the original window configuration here, and this is the original window here. Obviously, we've put in a stereo system. This turns the stereo on and off. We got storage everywhere. We got levelers for leveling it if you're in some place where you need to get her more level than concrete. The switch in the very back over here is for the hot water heater, and it's got a red light on it so that if it accidentally goes off, it will flash the red at you and tell you to restart it. Storage here. We've got LED lights underneath both the counters and a rheostat. You can turn it down or you can turn them off and on. And then outside, I showed you there was a black vent. The fan is inside this cupboard. There's a grill here, which is basically the filter, and you turn the fan on with this switch when you're running the stovetop. The other thing you can't see is we got a thermostat for the heater on the wall right here. Lots of storage under here. And again, this is the furnace. This is the cold return for the furnace. This is the hot for the furnace. Everybody thinks this is a dishwasher. It's a refrigerator. Again, and it's got a freezer compartment. It runs on either 110 or propane. You'll see some funny little black things right here. Wondering what those are. Well, the refrigerator is open to the backside because it needs to vent, because it needs to pull in air and burn for the propane. But all the water for the shower is right here. So to keep that from being contaminated or getting cold with outside air, these are vents. These are open and basically allows warm air to circulate through here to make sure that the water inside the shower doesn't freeze. Air conditioner on top. This is the hanging compartment for clothes. We've got 2 drawers here that are soft close. Got a smaller one on top and a bigger one on the bottom. This is the fuse panel. This is where all the 110 circuit breakers and all the fuses for the 12 volts are. And again, more storage next to it. This is the switch that when you're connected to shore power, you're turned this way. And when you have the generator running, you turn it that way. So it will accept power either from the city or from the generator. This is the escape window that we talked about. You can pull the screen right off, and if you had to, you could push that window out. Microwave, another set of LED lights under this counter. And then these are all the lights and the fuel and the water pump switches for everything inside here. And here's a 12 volt if you have something with that kind of power. And here's another 12-volt charger with your USB ports. And then every time this switch is on, it'll tell you how many volts you have in your battery. When you're plugged in or the generator's running, this ought to be reading like 13 volts. Right now it reads 12.3. I hooked it up only on one switch because, believe it or not, in the middle of the night, that blue light will keep you awake. So I don't have it going on all the time. It only tells you that when this switch is on. This is the switch for the shower. I keep the keys for the generator hanging up inside of the closet here. It's got a remote start. You hit the start button twice and then it's got a shut off button. It takes a second for it to warm up, and then after it warms up, you can turn this on to generator and you can see it powered up the microwave. Again, it's putting out 110, it'll run the air conditioner, and you can shut it off from here. Hang the keys back up. A lot of times when you're camping, you don't need the air conditioner running. This basically has a 10-speed fan. It's remote operated. You can lay in bed and crank it up, crank it down. You can open and close the vent. It's very handy, and again, if you pop open a window somewhere that's got a screen on it, it will pull air through here and out, and it'll keep it cool without having to go through the noise of listening to the air conditioner run all night. So one of the things I always like in a motorhome is to have a separate toilet and a shower. So I'm not doing the wet bath where you're trying to sit on a toilet and do a shower. So we made sure that when we remodeled this thing, we ended up with 2 compartments. So this is basically the toilet area. And one of the things that we did was we made it so that when you're camping, you can open the door all the way and it magnetically stays open. It's also got a full-length mirror here where you can basically dress and see how you're dressed. So one of the things that I've kind of fallen in love with over my years of camping is the cassette toilet. This toilet basically has 5 gallons of fresh water on the top side, and then it holds 5 gallons of black water on the bottom. If I go camping, it will last at least a week. And what's nice about it is you don't have to go find an RV place to dump. You can take the bottom side of the toilet out, you can dump it in a toilet, you can dump it in a pit toilet, you can dump it just about anywhere. So you don't have to worry about finding some place. You don't have a sewer hose to worry about. Again, it's very easy to work with the cassette toilets. It's easy to fill them up with water. You're not handling them that often, and like I say, 5 gallons of water is going to last you, if you're one person, at least a week. I went to a convention in Ohio and I slept in it the whole time. I didn't even empty it till I got home. I love them, and again, no sewer hose to deal with. You don't have to hunt down an RV place at the end of your trip. One of the things that I always like in an RV is a really nice shower. Terry and I spent a lot of time putting this one together. You can see we got a glass door, and then everything inside of it is very functional and is very well laid out. So obviously what you can see in here is we got soap dispensers. This is a nice mirror. It's battery operated for shaving. You can turn it on and it'll light up your face for shaving. This is a place to put toothbrush and shaving cream and whatever, and obviously you can turn that off. It's got a separate vent that turns on so that you're not steaming up the whole place, so you can open up that vent when you take a shower, or you can pull it down, and it's got a fan and a light. So again, both a fan and a light, and obviously lights in here. It's got a wand that you can, again, move around, make it easy. You can slide it up and down. Water here, hot and cold, and again, there's a 20-some gallon tank underneath of here that catches the water from the shower and also the sink. Very functional. And the other thing, that there never is enough place in an RV, it's a place to hang up wet towels. So we've got a towel rack in here, and there are several towel racks inside the toilet area. So you don't have towels hanging over seats and all other places. So very handy, very convenient. I love this shower. So one of the things I like about this camper is it's got a nice mellow sound. It does have headers, and it also has some pretty nice mufflers. It sounds great, but it is not annoying. So one of the other things I like is I've installed an edge tuner on this vehicle. So going down the road, it tells you all kinds of things. It tells you your transmission temperature, your engine temperature, tells you what gear you're in, tells you how fast you're going, tells you what the incoming air temperature is, transmission temp, the battery voltage. You can see we're putting out 14 volts. It tells you everything that's going on, so you never have to guess how is the vehicle or the engine running.